Advanced English Arabic Learning Session 23. He swung the axe to chop down the tree. Biodegradable waste and the recyclable waste. Buses were spewing out black clouds of exhaust. The volcano spewed a giant ash cloud. He spewed up when he was drunk, threw up. The riders stopped to distribute alms. A hoarse whisper. Lewis identified unconditional love as agape. His song is about God's agape. Oral anatomy differ from oral anatomy. Skydiving was a barmy idea. The music is driving me barmy. I thought I was going barmy at first. The vagaries of the weather. A scorched earth tactic. She wore a sloppy sweater and jeans. Water slopped over the edge of the sink. The barm is the froth on fermenting malt liquor. She had been rude to her boss. Vagrant beggars. The vagaries of fortune. A bleak midwinter's day. He sows a mixture of grasses and legumes. A teaspoon of ground cloves. A 3D objects can be morphed into other objects. What you doing here, mush? Burglars ransacked her home. He sternly warned me to not do anything stupid. A rustic oak bench. An unblemished professional record. He speaks impeccable English. She tripped up during the penultimate lap. Get undressed. The penultimate episode of the popular TV series. Olivia penned award-winning poetry. To carry a load in a wheelbarrow. It was the practice to pen the sheep for clipping. Antepenultimate is the third from last. My daughter was born in the penultimate month of the year. They had been penned up day and night in the house. She was wearing a borrowed jacket. The fish can burrow a hiding place. The shops had been looted and torched. Sift the flour into a large bowl. Have you nailed the killer? A knucklehead is a dummy or a numbskull. The collar chafed his neck. Chafing are a few possible ailments. Her vivacious and vividly mother. Shove off. You're bothering the customers. If worst comes to worst. Hanks of pale green yarn. They're yearning for her freedom. She yearned for a glimpse of him. To spin yarn using a spindle. The parched earth. I am starving and parched. A piece of grassland parched by the sun. I'm parched, I'll die without a drink. A baby soap that sudsed. Work comes to its fruition. Both varieties shed leaves in winter. We shed our jackets. A lorry shed its load of steel bars. That year marked a watershed for the party. She learned the hang gliding. Now he has decamped to Hollywood. Disentangling her untamed red hair. The battle to tame inflation. Doubt is the ultimate treason against faith. Keep credit cards handy. A hotel in a handy central location. A small handful of fresh coriander. Only a handful of people were in the pub. An intramural social symbol within the tribe. Powerful feudal chieftains. An elite composed of corporate chieftains. A bespoke gown for the delectable Ms. Davis. Most of the people live a subsistence existence. The subsistence of evil. Stripping for stardom in a publicity stunt. Why do celebrities do publicity stunts? Publicity stunt is something done just to get the attention of the public. Delectable handmade chocolates. Climatic determinism. Becoming more determined enemies. Woman of indeterminate age. A sports stadium with a domed roof. A cool wind rippled the surface of the estuary. Fields of grain rippling in the wind. Applause rippled around the tables. A responsible and sure-footed government. Universal adult suffrage. The suffrages of the community. To concede universal suffrage at one blow. The fund will be used to spruce up historic buildings. A newly tarred road. A cup of hulled strawberries. She might live to rue her impetuous decision. An archery hunter. Shrubberies. Sorry to barge in on your cozy evening. The demoralizing effect of imprisonment. They sat cloaked and hooded. I've lived in the hood for 5 years. 5. She gave him a reproachful look. Fog is a kind of cloud that touches the ground. Flooding problems in low-lying areas. Pollution causes low-lying ozone. The land yields grapes and tobacco. The Roman amphitheater. The full rigor of the law. The rigors of a harsh winter. Gender-segregated schools. Real life is not separated by gender. Why schools should be segregated by gender. A most illuminating discussion. How do I stop being a blanket hog? Huge platters of cooked meat. The innkeeper. A lovey-dovey couple. Impeccable diction. The costs would stack up for any speculator. Saucy postcards. Luke gave Flora a mild cuff. The chasm between rich and poor. He was a stand-up kind of guy. A pack of wolves will encircle an ailing prey. I packed a bag and left. The cellars are full of junk. I can't write this kind of junk. So I had to think on my feet. The incessant beat of the music. A horde of rugby fans. The hoarding and misuse of resources. The bright sun made them squint. Her left eye squinted slightly. I was rooming with my friend. Share a room. The economy is in a perilous state. The volume of a gas varies inversely with pressure. Planes and steps. Put the leash on the dog. His violence was barely leashed. Her face was white, with sunken cheeks. A sunken garden. The wreck of a sunken ship. She kicked him in the groin, haunch. The insoluble dilemma of adolescence. Human law is indeed repressive. He was restraining his sniffles rather well. He grew dozy at the end of a long day. The children play beach games while the adults snooze in the sun. He settled in the grass for a snooze. The scanty portions of food doled out to them. Fess up your share of the bill. The deplorable conditions in which most prisoners are held. An island reached at low tide by a causeway. Dispelling the myth that academics can't be sexy. With Ide is just around the corner. 500 contiguous dictionary entries. She went to the doctor complaining of dizzy spells. I spent a brief spell on the Washington Post. The pupils has little acquaintance with the language. I always found him a very affable, approachable fella. Fuel takes a large chunk of their small income. It spells out the rules and procedures. Pour the sauce over the pasta and serve immediately. It's time to settle your differences with him. Several of the paintings were destroyed in the fire. The temperature can reach 40 degrees Celsius in the shade. The trees provide shade for the animals in the summer. The shadows lengthened as the sun went down. Don't leave any valuables in your car out of sight. High interest rates are a brake on the economy. I don't want to boast, but I can actually speak 6 languages. She is always boasting about how wonderful her children are. The old engine coughed and spluttered into life. She coughed and spluttered, tears coursing down her face. He began to splutter excuses. The rain caused the lamp to splutter. She almost choked to death in the thick fumes. The pond was choked with rotten leaves. She choked up when she began to talk about her mother. The country was chopped up into small administrative areas. The share price was chopped from 50 pence to 20 pence. He claims that he was not given a fair hearing. The end. Coming next. Session 24.